Hello, good day. I welcome you to this short session on statistics and measures of central tendency. Measures of central tendency and measures of dispersion. And my wonderful student, you would agree with me that I made a promise to um, um, provide solution to that particular question that we're about solving in class that day. So before we're timed out. So this class is in fulfillment of of that prof of that promise. So without taking much of all of your time, let me just share that question with us again so that we can be clear. Of course, some other things have been added to it. So this is the question. Of course, I want us to refresh our memories with this. For instance, measures of central tendency. We have the mean, we have the median, and we have the mode. Measures of dispersion, variance, standard deviation, and coefficient of variation. Examples of measures. So for the purpose of this short session, we'll be looking at this. And this is the details of the question. Confirm it, trace it to what you have with you that I shared in class that day. And so you are required to calculate the mean using the midpoint value method, the median, the mode, the variance, the standard deviation, the coefficient of variation, and of course, comment on the nature of distribution of the data. Comment on the nature of distribution of the data. So you decide whether they are normal or they are not normal. So that's very important. So take a look at the question once again. After this, I'm going to put this down and share my Excel file with which I'm going to drive the computation. So I put this down, and so I share Excel file. So this is the details there. And of course, if you work, so the net, so we have this. Let's move very fast because the network seems not to be friendly. So you have the formula sheet by this side. Let's take a look at them again to refresh our memories. This is the formula for mean and place at the center because I can always take it back. Summation fx divided by summation f. You have the median. The L median you're seeing there is the lower class limit of the median class plus you now do n divided by 2 minus summation f1. Then you put all in bracket divided by the frequency of the median class times the class interval of the median class. Then you do same for mode. Your mode is the lower class limit of the modal class plus D1 divided by D1 plus D2. Your D1 is the frequency of the modal class. The class that has the highest frequency is your modal class. The difference between the frequency of the modal class and the one before it is D1. D2, the difference between the frequency of the modal class and the one after it. So we'll give you D2. Of course, C mode is a class interval of the modal class. And you have your standard deviation as follows. Your standard deviation, you can see, please pay attention to the way that formula is arranged. When you are solving, it means you have to first of all get your x, square your x. When you have squared your x, you will now multiply your s squared by frequency. Then minus, you will now have this. So you will have your fx multiply, which you have already summed, and you now square the final answer. You divide it by the summation f. You subtract this answer from what you have gotten here before you now divide again by the summation of the frequency. So then your coefficient of variation is standard deviation divided by mean. So let's get started. So the first one you have to determine is you bring in your frequency. You will bring in your frequency. You would bring in your frequency. And what's our frequency? We have 2 here. You have 4. We have 7. We have 3. We have 12. We have 15. We have 8. We have 2. Then we have what? We have 7. And once you've gotten your frequency, the next thing is to determine your cumulative frequency. So your cumulative frequency is cumulative. In class 2, the cumulative is 2. By the time you get to, class 1 is 2. The second class, your cumulative frequency will be 4 divided by 2. That will give us 6. Is the addition of these 2. When you get to the third one, the addition of these 3. Fourth one, the addition of in that order. And so here, for the third one is 7 plus 6. That's 13. For this one, 3 plus 13. For the next one, we have 12 plus 16 plus this 15 plus 28. And this 3 plus 43. And this one, 2 plus 51. And the last one, by the time you have 7 to 53, you would have gotten 60. And so the summation of this We had all of these together. We had them. Use your calculator. If you are not too good with Excel, use your calculator, and that will give you 60. So that will give you 60. So I'll give you 60. Of course, if I don't have to do the summation of these two. And so the question asks us to use the midpoint value method to get our mean. So the midpoint, which is our x now, will now be, you will pick 11 plus, for the first class, 11 divided by 20, then you divide it by what? By 2. That will give you 15.5. And so you follow that order, 21, which is the second class, plus 30. You divide it by 2. So you come here, 31 plus 40 divided by 2. Why this one will be 41 plus 50 divided by 2. Why this one will be 51 plus 60 divided by 2. Why this one will be 61 plus 70 divided by 2. Why this one would be 71 plus 80 divided by 2. Why this one would be 81 plus 90 divided by 2. Why this one would be 91 plus 100 divided by what? Divided by 2. So we have this. Divided by 2, we have this. So this is your total. This is your total. And so once we've gotten this, then we now get our fx. Our fx means f times x, f times x. So we now do 2 times 15.5. I will give you 31. Of course, 4 times 25.5. And by the time you do this, you drag down. So go to this figure. So the next one is for us to now follow this formula. You want to determine fs square. So you will square x. So s square. So let's say s square. S square. Let me put it properly, not x2. X square. Yes, s square. S square means you get this figure, you square it, give you 240. So on, you get this figure, you square it, it gives you 650. Of course, in that order, you will continue. So I've done s square. This is the s square here. And I'll now multiply this s square by f. I'll say fx square, fs square, fs square. So I'll now say whatever we have in f, multiply by this, that will give us this. Then you do the same thing for others. So you do the same thing. Look at what I've done. I've multiplied. Can you see? For others too. Can you see? For others too. Can you see? Comes in that order. And once you do that, you do the summation. You are required to do the summation. Summation will sum it. And by the time you sum it, you see the answer here. 2, 4. So 243, 243, 49, 243, 495, 243, 495. That is what you have, 243,495. And of course, we'll need the summation of fx too. Summation fx, yes. I use the only 3. So you can put all of this together. So once you have been able to do this in exam, you are 60% gone. So let's begin to pick the requirement one after the other. The first one is mean. To get our mean, summation fx divided by summation f. So summation fx, where is summation fx? See it here, 3610. And now divided by summation what? Summation f. So our mean is 60.17. 60.17. So the next one is median. Median. The first thing is we have to get our median class. What's our median class? Sum all of this together first, and that will give you 60. And divide it exactly by what? By 2. That's 30. Let's now begin to look for 30 from the cumulative frequency column. Begin to look for it from the cumulative frequency column. Where can you see that 30 falls? Oh, 30 falls here. I can put it in green and say, oh, this is my median class. And once I know my median class, I will then go and get the lower class limit. I'll come here. The lower class limit is the 60 that you have here, this 60 that ended this class, and 61 that started this. You sum the two. You will now divide it by what? By the 2. By 2 rather. Divided by 2. So that will now be 60 plus 61 divided by 2. That will give you 60.5. So all the parameters, let me begin to bring them out. So the lower class, the lower class, the lower class limit, the lower class limit, so the lower class limit would be what? What's my lower class limit? That is 60.5. That's my lower class limit. I've gotten that one. So n divided by 2, n divided by 2, our n divided by 2 give us as 15. Sorry, 30. That is 30 divided by 2. That's for this one. Then this one is cumulative frequency before the median class. Cumulative frequency before the median class. That is 28. Cumulative frequency before the median class. Cumulative frequency before median class. So cumulative frequency before the median class, that one would be 28. And of course, the frequency of the median class is the frequency of the median class. I can put that one under color. Frequency of the median class. So frequency of median class. Frequency of median class. And that one would then be 15. Frequency of median class is 15. Is 15. Is 15. So once I get that one. And the class interval. So class interval. Of course, if you count, all the class intervals are 10. 11 to 20 is 10. 21 to 30 is 10. So my class interval is what? Is 10. Class interval is 10. So once you know all of this, you are good to calculate the median. You are good to calculate the median. So let's move. I'll come here. I'll pick my lower class limits. This is 60.5 plus, close the bracket. So n divided by 2 is 30. N divided by 2 is 30. So 30 minus EF1, which is 28. I'll put 28 there. Close the bracket. And once I close the bracket, I will divide by the frequency of the median class, which is 15. Close all of the brackets that you have here so that I don't commit BODMAS rule error. And so all of these figures I have here now, I will further close them so that before I will now multiply by the class interval of what? Of 10. And so you see that my answer is already there. My answer is already 61 point what? 61.8. Yes, let me put it here. So 61.8. So, and this, all of this were gotten from where? From all of these parameters you see a lower class limit, n divided by 2, cumulative frequency before the median, frequency of the median, and class interval of this. And so quickly, we'll move to what? We'll move to mode. We'll move to mode. And to do mode, what is important there is you determine the modal class. Is the class that has the highest frequency. Is the class that has the highest frequency. And because it has the highest frequency, so what you then do is to now say that you get your mode, and here is 15. So incidentally, the median class is the same thing as the modal class. Yes. So the median class is the same thing as the modal class. So is a modal class. So and here you'll be having 60.5. We'll be having 60.5 also as the lower class limit of this. So let me just copy this so that it will be the same. It remains 60.5. Then what I need to now determine now is D1 and D2, then class interval. Of course, the class intervals remains 10. So class interval remains 10. How do we get our D1? Our D1 is the modal class, the frequency of the modal class minus the frequency of the class before it. The frequency of the modal class minus the frequency of the class before it. And D2, frequency of the modal class minus the frequency of the class after the modal class. So that will be 8 for this one. This one is 12. So I'll just come here. This one would then be 15 minus 12. Am I correct? I got 3. Why this one would be 15 minus 8. I got 7. Class interval. So with this now, we are good to solve for mode. And this one too will be 60.5 plus, open the bracket. So we have 3 divided by 10. No, of course, D1 plus D2 will give us 10 divided by 10. Put all of this together. Put all of this. No. Put all of this. Once I've gotten this, let me remove this and not violate board mass. Whatever you have here, you multiply it by a class interval of 10. Then put all of this together in the same bracket before we now add to 60.5. And by so doing, our modal class would have been this. Our modal class. So let's go back to the formula. If you are in doubt, follow the formula. I'm sure you'll not make any mistake. So this is our mode. This is our median. And this is our mean. So our mean, our median, and our mode. Let me put them in bold so that it can come out well from others. So we've solved 3 of them. So that one is now variance and variance. So to solve for variance, we just would follow our computation. We'll follow our computation. And what is our computation? So our formula, what's our formula? Look at it. Summation fs square. Have we done summation fs square? Yes, summation. We have s square. S has been squared. We multiply it by f, then we sum. Yes, that's this figure. So these have been gotten. Then we now solve for this one. This one is saying you have to square fx, summation fx. You square summation fx. Once you've squared it, you now divide it by the frequency. So what they're saying is you will square 3610, square it. Whatever answer you have, you will now divide it by what? You will divide that answer by the frequency. That will give you 217. So by so doing, you have gotten the numerator. So we've gotten the numerator. So let's now come here and solve for variance. To solve for variance, we would come here and say this minus this. Yes, that's what we're doing. This minus this. So if you solve, yes, this minus this, whatever answer we have, we will now divide it by the sum of the frequency, which is 60. That will give us 4382. Yes, this is our variance. So this figure we have here clearly is our variance. This is our variance. Yes, this is our variance. So our variance, after we have solved for this, we've gotten this one to be 243,495. We've gotten this one to be 217,201.7. All of these ones. Then we now divided by the frequency, summation of the frequency, we got 60. And so when we got in that one, we got 438.2. 438.2. 438.2. And so then we now try and determine your standard deviation. Your standard deviation will now be the square root. That will be the square root. The square root of this figure. Square root of this figure. By the time you get the square root, so 20.93 becomes your standard deviation. So this is your variance. And to now determine coefficient of variation, all you've got to do is you will divide the standard deviation by what? Divide standard deviation by your mean. Standard deviation by your mean. Yes, by your mean. And of course, we can multiply this by percentage. If we multiply this by 100, multiply this by 100. And so what we are going to have will be 34.79%. This is our coefficient of variation, cause in percentage. So on the basis of this now, we now want to comment on whether the distribution is normal or non-normal. So let's place the mean on the same side. This is my mean. Our mean, what's our mean? Our mean is 60.17. What's our median? Our median is 61.8. And what's our mode? Our mode is 63.5. As these 3 figures are not the same, we can comment that our comments, since they're not the same, of course, we said when the data distribution is normal, the median and the mode will be equal or almost equal. But from what we are seeing here, we are having a non-normal distribution. A non-normal what? A non-normal distribution, which is also what we call asymmetric distribution. Asymmetric distribution. Asymmetric distribution. Asymmetric distribution. So the data is not normal because the mean, the mode, and the median are not the same, are not the same. So I hope with this very short lecture, at least we can make some sense as to how to go about solving that particular question that we shared in class. So if you've got any other concerns, please do not hesitate to enter my DM and let me know. In the meantime, I ask you to stay blessed while wishing you a pleasant day ahead. Thank you very, very kindly.